Ever heard the saying they don't make them like they used to? It's not nostalgia, it's fact. Some of those early cars had no screens, no sensors, but they were built to last. Today, we're diving into 10 ancient-looking cars that refuse to die and might just be the most reliable machines ever built. Number 10. Mercedes-Benz S-Class W140. At first glance, the W140 looks like your grandfather's Mercedes, big, boxy, and unapologetically 90s. But don't judge a book by its cover, as this old-school Mercedes is practically immortal. You see, the W140 was built in an era when Mercedes didn't care about budgets, only perfection. And despite being labeled a flop in some boardrooms, the Mercedes-Benz W140 sold nearly 500,000 units between 1991 and 1998. That does not sound like a disaster at all, but for Mercedes, this was less about sales and more about legacy. But how can such an old Mercedes still outlive a brand new SUV? Well, it is because back then, Mercedes let the engineers call the shots, and those engineers weren't exactly shy with the company's checkbook, which explains why the W140 reportedly cost over a staggering $1 billion to develop. It was the last Mercedes made before the accountants took over, which is why enthusiasts still point to it as the greatest S-Class ever built. Mercedes even tested prototypes for over 1.8 million miles before the first one even reached a showroom. Today, it's not uncommon to see these 20 to 30-year-old cars easily pass the half-a-million-mile mark, and many owners claim their W140 just keep going, as long as you treat them right. Number 9. Honda Accord. What if the most indestructible Honda car on the planet is also one of the most boring looking? Well, that's kind of the magic of the Honda Accord. It may not scream performance or flash, but under that ordinary exterior hides one of the most reliable sedans ever built, a true mechanical marathon runner. You see, in 2011, a 1990 Honda Accord had just clocked 1 million miles. Even more impressive is that the engine and transmission were still the original factory units, untouched and unbothered. Aside from a fuel pump failure in 2007 and 2 radiator swaps, it just kept on going. But here's where it gets even better. Interestingly, the second highest mileage for a Honda is also another Honda Accord. This time, it was a 2003 V6 coupe that reached the 1 million mile milestone in 2023. Clearly, the Accord isn't just lucky, it's built for longevity. It's worth mentioning that the Accord's reputation for reliability has been well earned over the decades. Whether you're talking about the 2.2-liter F22 engine from the late 90s or the later K-Series 2.4-liter four-cylinder engines from the 2000s, these motors are known for handling high mileage without drama, as long as you keep up with oil changes and basic maintenance. If you're considering picking up a used Accord to start your own million-mile journey, 3 standout model years worth looking at are the 1992 Accord EX Sedan, the 2000 Accord EX Sedan, and the 2006 Accord LX Coupe. Number 8. Mercedes-Benz W123240D. Have you ever ridden in a taxi? What if we told you there's a Mercedes-Benz taxi that has driven over 4.35 million miles? Sounds unbelievable, right? But that's exactly what one W123 240D in Spain has done. At first glance, it just looks like an old boxy Mercedes with chrome trim and soft seats. But under the hood, it hides one of the toughest engines Mercedes ever made, a 2.4-liter naturally aspirated diesel inline-4 that makes just 65 horsepower. This particular car has been on the road since 1988 and it's still going. How? Well, it was driven 24 hours a day, every day, by 3 different drivers working 8-hour shifts. Naturally, you'd expect something like that to break down constantly, but no. This car stays alive thanks to regular maintenance and 1 oil change per week. That's 52 oil changes a year. Even more impressive, this Lang version is over 17 feet long and fits 7 passengers plus a driver, making it roomier than most modern Ubers. Another detail worth mentioning is that the W123240D became Mercedes' most popular model ever, with 2.7 million sold. Early on, demand was so crazy that people were paying more for used ones on the black market just to skip the long wait at dealerships. Also, the next version, the Mercedes-Benz W124, carried on the tradition of the W123 by offering legendary reliability. Number 7. BMW 3 Series E30. BMWs from the 80s and 90s have long been known for their solid engineering, and the E30 generation of the 3 Series stands as one of the clearest examples. It may not have the tank-like over-engineering of a Mercedes-Benz from the same era, but it still earns its place as one of the most reliable classics on the road today. In fact, the E30 is one of the few vintage cars you could still genuinely drive every day. It's simple, sturdy, and built with the kind of quality that was meant to last, and clearly it has. Thanks to its rock-solid construction and no-nonsense layout, many E30s have already crossed the 500,000-mile mark and show no signs of quitting. And one shining example from the E30 generation is the BMW 325i. Its 2.5-liter inline-six engine, making around 168 horsepower, is one of the most bulletproof motors BMW ever made. Interestingly, oil giant Mobil used a 325i as a long-term rolling testbed. What it means is that they strapped it to a rolling road. Think of it as a giant treadmill for cars. Then, they connected it to an endless fuel supply, locked the throttle at a steady 85 miles per hour, and let it run non-stop, 24/7. Remarkably, the car kept going for 4 straight years. By the end of the test, it had racked up over 1 million miles. Number 6. Toyota Camry. Say what you will about it being boring, but the Toyota Camry might just be the most unstoppable car on the road. When people talk about reliable cars, the Camry almost always shows up, and for good reason. For decades, the Camry has been the go-to choice for families, commuters, and basically anyone who wants a car that just works. No drama, no breakdowns, no check engine light surprises. It's the kind of car that shrugs off abuse, handles years of daily driving, and keeps running like nothing ever happened. By the way, its reputation for reliability isn't just a myth, it's earned. Whether from the late 1990s or early 2000s, old Camrys were built with an unshakable focus on durability. Engines like the 2.2-liter 5S FE inline-4 and the buttery-smooth 3.0-liter 1MZF EV6 became legends for one simple reason: they almost never die. As a result, it's completely normal to see these cars cross the 250,000-mile mark, and in many cases go much farther. For example, a woman in Florida recently hit 500,000 miles on her 1999 Camry, all without any major engine work. Number 5. Mazda MX-5 Miata NA. In the late 1980s, small lightweight roadsters had all but disappeared. British icons like the MGB, Triumph Spitfire, and Fiat 124 Spider had faded away because people stopped finding them exciting. Then, in 1989, Mazda came in with something unexpected: the MX-5 Miata, and it completely flipped the script. Unveiled at the Chicago Auto Show with a starting price of $14,000, that's around $35,900 in today's money, the Miata was inspired by those old-school British sports cars, but with one major difference: it actually worked reliably. Instead of engine problems, oil leaks, and electrical issues, there was Japanese engineering, a tight chassis, and a joyful driving experience that just never got old. The first-generation Miata, also known as the NA, was sold from 1989 to 1997, with nearly 400,000 units leaving the factory. Early models came with a 1.6-liter inline-4 engine, making about 115 horsepower, while later years offered a 1.8-liter version with closer to 133 horsepower. It wasn't super fast. 0 to 60 miles per hour took around 8.6 to 9.2 seconds, with a top speed of about 116 miles per hour. But it didn't need to be. This car was all about the connection between the driver and the road. What really makes the NA Miata impressive, though, is how well it holds up over time. It's not unusual to see them still going strong with over 300,000 miles on the odometer. Number 4. Volvo 240. Have you ever wondered what car you could pass down to your grandkids and it would still start on the first try? That's basically the legend of the Volvo 240. It was cool decades ago and still cool now. Introduced in 1974 and produced until 1993, the Volvo 240 didn't just look sturdy, it was insanely sturdy. Built during a time when Volvo prioritized safety and longevity above all else, the 240 became a global symbol of dependability. It was boxy, yes, but under those straight lines was a car that refused to quit. Powering most versions of the 240 was the B21 or B230 inline-4 engine, both part of Volvo's Red Block engine family. While not exactly thrilling, as most models made around 100 to 114 horsepower, these engines were famously understressed and built to last. Paired with simple rear-wheel drive layouts and durable manual or automatic transmissions, the 240 became a favorite for anyone who just wanted a car that would easily last over 300,000 miles. Number 3. Ford Crown Victoria. What car can outrun a suspect, survive a rear-end crash, and then go on to become someone's daily car? Well, that would be the Ford Crown Victoria, a car so tough it basically became the unofficial mascot of American durability. Originally launched in 1991, the Crown Vic stuck around until 2011, wrapping up an impressive 20-year production run. During that time, Ford produced over 1.5 million units, including the beloved Police Interceptor P71 variant. If you've ever been pulled over or hailed a cab between the 90s and early 2010s, odds are you've already ridden in one. So what made it such a long-lasting car? First and foremost, it rode on a body-on-frame chassis, a design usually reserved for pickup trucks and full-size SUVs. This old-school architecture made it absurdly durable, surprisingly easy to repair, and incredibly good at years of rough use. Mechanically, the Crown Vic was powered by Ford's trusty 4.6-liter modular V8, which made between 210 and 250 horsepower depending on the model year. While not blisteringly fast, this engine was famously low-stressed and long-lasting, especially in the 2003 to 2011 models. Pair it with the reliable 4-speed automatic transmission, and you had a drivetrain that would run for decades. Naturally, its durability didn't go unnoticed. Even after retirement from police or taxi service, these cars refused to die. Many ex-cop Crown Vics have gone on to clock 300,000 miles or more. Some have even topped the 500,000 mile mark, proving that this platform was overbuilt in all the best ways. Number 2. Volvo P1800. Here's a fact that'll blow your mind. The highest mileage car in history isn't a diesel truck or a fleet taxi. It's a humble 1966 Volvo P1800. Driven by Irv Gordon, this Swedish coupe racked up an astonishing 3.2 million miles, earning a Guinness World Record in the process. Now, beyond the record-breaking story, the Volvo P1800 was already a standout vehicle in its day. First introduced in 1961, the P1800 was Volvo's stylish answer to European sports cars like the Jaguar E-Type, but with a twist. Instead of high-strung performance, it emphasized durability, comfort, and practicality, all wrapped in a surprisingly elegant design. Under the hood, it came with a 1.8-liter inline-4 B18 engine, making about 100 horsepower, later upgraded to 2.0 liters B20 engine in the P1800E and 1800ES variants. Sure, it wasn't a speed demon, but it was smooth, torquey, and almost impossible to kill. Owners routinely praise its simple mechanicals, easy maintenance, and tank-like build quality. As the years went on, the P1800's reliability and handsome looks earned it cult status, not just for Irv Gordon's legacy, but because they're genuinely usable classics. Number 1. Lexus LS400. What happens when Toyota decides to take on the world's best luxury brands? You get the Lexus LS400, a car so thoroughly engineered, it didn't just compete with Mercedes and BMW, it quietly outclassed them. Introduced in 1989 as the first Lexus model ever, the LS400 was the result of Toyota's ambitious plan to create a new luxury division from scratch. To do it right, they reportedly poured over $1 billion into its development. In fact, 60 designers, 1,400 engineers split among 24 teams, 2,300 technicians, and over 200 support workers took part during the development of the new LS. And the results speak for themselves. Every detail, from the whisper-quiet cabin to the buttery-smooth ride, was carefully designed to deliver a new standard of refinement. Most impressively, the LS400 came equipped with the legendary 4.0-liter 1UZF V8. Built entirely from aluminum and engineered for longevity, this power plant quickly earned a reputation for being virtually unkillable. Paired with a bulletproof 4-speed automatic transmission, the LS400 wasn't just luxurious, it was built to last. Over the years, this Lexus gained a cult following for its incredible reliability. In fact, it's not uncommon to see examples easily passing the 300,000-mile mark, with many well-maintained units cruising past 500,000 miles. All of this, remarkably, with just basic upkeep. If you enjoyed this video, here's another one you'll love. As always, thanks for watching.